Good afternoon, good late morning, whatever you want to describe this. You can see some cool colors behind me here. All the trees are bare. Obviously, I'm in New York and not in Florida, but going back to Florida soon if everything works out. I'm hoping to be going back there Tuesday, 1:17 at night. I'll descend upon West Palm, and then EMT 623. Hello, hello, hello. Good to see everyone. You're the first one that I showed up on the screen. So Tuesday night. Lucy on the go. Hello. How are you? Good to see you. So I'm going to showing behind me. Happy Friday. It's Friday the 13th. Anyone out there suspicious that are worried about it being Friday the 13th? Wow. Maiden 86. Hello. How are you? Pauline Buckles, Thomas Jordan. Hello, good to see you, Thomas. Always good to see you. Sorry about, I guess the background doesn't look as pretty as it should because it's a lot of bare trees back there. Draga Pro from Canada. Hey, Canada, hey. Isn't that what you say in Canada, eh? So, TV Cat didn't even notice it was Friday the 13th. Jeff Beck, yes, Jeff Beck, rest in peace. When you ever think about all you guys that are music fans, some of you that are my age or around my age, younger than me, yeah, the band The Yardbirds, and again, it was early 60s, I think, maybe middle 60s, 64, 65. The three guitarists in that band were Jeff Beck, Eric Clapton, and Jimmy Page. How, isn't that too much guitar talent? I mean, who takes the lead? All three of them were monsters on the guitar. Could you imagine? That's probably why the band didn't last that long. The Yardbirds. Go look it up. Jimmy Page, Eric Clapton, and Jeff Beck. Amazing. And then Elvis Presley's daughter just died yesterday. That was horrible. Lisa Marie, yes, very sad. Only like 55 years old. You know, I think those people that live in that limelight like that, they have lives that are sped up. They're moving at the speed of sound, and it has to slow down. And you know that's a shame that she died so young. But so did her dad, right? And Elvis died so young too, but he had some issues. He had some problems. You know, it's funny. I'm not like a huge Elvis fan music-wise, but when you watch him like on TV, he had this magic. He just had a magic to him. You know. That persona that just I guess a lot of stars have that, you know. It's that, maybe that's why they're stars, you know. And yeah, it's just incredible. So Jeff Beck, rest in peace. Lisa Marie Presley, rest in peace. April Sandcliffe said she died of a broken heart from the loss of her son. You know, all those life tragedies, they take a piece of your heart, definitely. Robbie Knievel, Evil Knievel's son. Ron Howe, good to see you. Yeah, so a little bit of a Angela Ang, Elvis or the Beatles? Beatles, of course. The Beatles were probably one of the greatest bands that ever lived as far as the quality of their music, in my opinion. You know, music is a personal choice, so you can't say you're right or you're wrong. It's your own personal taste. You know, I happen to think the Beatles were fantastic. You know, and you like certain bands. I think Queen, the band Queen, is unbelievable. And a lot of people don't like Queen, but I thought they were so original, and I thought Freddie Mercury is probably the best, or at least one of the best frontmen in rock and roll history. Undoubtedly, Mick Jagger's one of them, maybe one or two. I always thought Steven Tyler was a great frontman. I wasn't too into Roger Daltrey. Never, like, I hated him swinging the microphone. That's so, like, stupid. The guy from AC/DC, you know, those are great frontmen. You know, guys that could. Ron Howe, love your show, Bill, but it's like Huff, not now. Sorry, Ron, I can't do it all the time at everyone's convenience, you know. So getting back to the Idaho quadruple murder case that yesterday was that hearing. It basically, many people predicted that it wasn't going to be a big deal. Richard Resendez, doing well, buddy. He's asking, how am I doing? What it really was the defense asking for more time. The defense needs time now to investigate the evidence that undoubtedly the prosecution has. And they're going to take a while to, June 26th is when they'll be back in court. And my prediction yesterday, I don't know if you guys watched the show yesterday, June 26th, I guarantee the defense goes into court and they're going to ask to put the case off until September. And the prosecution will agree to it because no one wants to work through the summer. That's the way things go. And the fact that Bryan Kohberger is in prison, no one will care about because that's where he's going for the rest of his life. So, we spoke about on yesterday's show with Mike Vecchione, the former Brooklyn prosecutor and chief of the homicide squad in Brooklyn, about, if this case occurred in New York, these lunatics would actually be considering giving this guy bail. Can you believe that? These New York morons, some of these politicians that passed this bail reform, they would actually consider it because judges aren't supposed to consider danger to the community or flight risk and all of those things that were part of bail in the past. Now they're just giving bail to people who clearly are a danger to the community. And when you think about this, it's sheer lunacy. Scary thought, autistic driver 42, isn't it? A scary thought that they would even think about bailing someone like that. But it's a lunacy. But yet, that's New York. Start spreading the news. I'm leaving today. I want to be a part of it. New York, New York. Welcome to New York, as they say, These delays are unacceptable. First till June, then another. You're right, guys. But if you haven't been around the criminal justice system, it never ever moves quickly. You hear the wheels of justice turn very slowly, and that happens to be a fact. And if you're not used to it, if you're an outsider looking at the criminal justice system, that's the way it works. Nothing's going to move quickly. But in the same way that this stay till June 26th is going to help the defense, it's going to help the prosecution. It's going to help them keep investigating this case, keep coming up with more and more evidence against, evidence against Bryan Kohberger, and make the strongest possible case. So it's just the way things are, that this happens. 173 people in the chat, 77 with the thumbs up. Guys, get your thumbs up here and recommend this show to other folks. Bring us your friends, your family, even family members you don't like. Tell them about us, You guys can fight in the chat. How fun would that be, right? We're growing though. We're doing pretty well. But this case has been quite interesting even for us. Dan 1, the 1800s criminal justice system was more efficient, but not as many people involved in it. Dan 1, there's so many people coming in contact with the criminal justice system. That's why it can grind to a halt. There has to be so many people working, so many people involved. So in that way, it's Lawson Mom. I post your videos on my Facebook page all the time. Well, thank you, Lawson Mom. Much appreciated it. I used to post our videos on Facebook, and I stopped doing it because they they put me in Facebook jail saying one of the videos was against their community standards. I said, guess what? Then all of my videos are against your community standards. And the millions of people that watch them throughout the year are not going on Facebook because of you doing that. It's really sad. Kim Alliston, Kim Alliston, who's a great friend of the show, she's a moderator, she's a subscriber, she's a friend. She asked me, a while ago I recorded this tune, Sunday Morning Coming Down by Chris Christopherson. Great tune. I couldn't find it. Maybe I deleted it. So I re-recorded it today, just, and then I put it up, I emailed it to her, and I also posted it up on our Patreon. So you guys that are on our Patreon, I recorded Sunday Morning Coming Down, and I put it on our Patreon. So if you check it out, it's a great tune. It's a great tune, and we'll see if I did a good job on it by the feedback I get. Sometimes you separate. Hi, Wick. Hi from Texas. Y'all from Texas? My sister's from Texas. She lived in Katy for years, but now she just moved much further north. Heather, whatever. 193 in the chat. 111 with the thumbs up. Martha M. Minor, last night's show was especially interesting, Bill. I have a Rumble account, and guys, I don't know if you've watched Mark DeMeo on the Police Off the Cuff, and I'm sure he's told his fans, but Mark and I started Police Off the Cuff about in excess of 3 years ago. But we had some growing pains. We didn't immediately put it up on YouTube. We were on some of the listening sites, and then maybe like a year and a half, 2 years ago, we put it up on YouTube. And then Mark and I split apart. We started out wanting to make the show more like comedic, but it didn't really work out that way. So I started doing true crime stories and real crime, and Mark kept doing his show, and then he partnered up with Angel Masonette. So as things go in life, Mark is moving to Las Vegas, and Mark and I met together, and we split up as partners, and I bought him out of Police Off the Cuff, and so he's going to do one more show, I believe, this Monday. But as of this Monday, the channel is going to be totally mine. I'm going to run the channel. It's going to be all about true crime. So I wish Mark all the success in the world in his new endeavors. Don't forget, Mark's a retired NYPD detective, and he's a great stand-up comic. But it didn't. It didn't totally work out, the podcast, but that's fine. I mean, you try. If you don't try anything, what's that old expression? Nothing ventured, nothing gained. We ventured. We tried. We tried, and sometimes things don't work out. And I still love the guy, and I'd like also let everyone know it was his idea to start this podcast. And things sometimes morph in a different way, and it morphed off more into true crime, and the true crime thing worked better, and. So Mark is leaving and going to Vegas, and he's going to have a whole new career in Vegas. So we wish Mark DeMeo the best of luck, and hopefully the channel will keep growing and keep going, and we'll keep adding you fans, subscribers, and friends. So Kokomo, off the Florida Keys, there's a place called Kokomo. That's where you wanna go to get away from it all. Way down to Kokomo, Bermuda, Bahama, oh, my pretty mama. I can't believe I remember that tune. Kokomo, Indiana. See what you did? You brought up Kokomo. I guess there's a yeah, God bless the journey for Mark DeMeo. Absolutely. Get there fast and take it slow. Someone's coming up with some more words to the tune. Beach Boys. Actually, you know who wrote that? John Phillips from the Mamas and the Papas. He may have written that for the Beach Boys, but I'm pretty sure he wrote the tune, Beach Boys are great, right? I may not always love you, long as there are stars above you. You never need to doubt it. I'll make you so sure about it. God only knows what I'd be without you. And if you ever leave me, life would still go on, believe me. The world would mean nothing to me. But what else could live into me? God only knows what I'd be without you. What a tune that is. Brian Wilson. Great, 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 great tune. Duck, Cut Loose Bill, Turtle Runner, Heather Whatever, beautiful. Oh, Help Me Rhonda, Help Me Rhonda, help me Rhonda. I know all these tunes blast from the past. I don't know the tunes now. Sometimes my sons who are 30 and 27, they'll come and play some tunes from what they listen to. And I have to say, I like a lot of it. I just don't know who the hell they are, you know? And I like a lot of the tunes, but I guess that's the thing with music. You have certain tastes, and then you listen to who you like all the time, and you don't take chances sometimes and listen to something different. Am I right or wrong? What do you think? Guys, Brian Wilson is a genius. I mean, that album they said called Pet Sounds, that tune, God Only Knows, was on Pet Sounds. And when it came out, and I forget what year it came out, the critics, the critics, I think, panned it, and the album didn't do well. And then years go by, and they said, this is an out-and-out masterpiece, a masterpiece, and brilliant. And I remember I read a story that when the album came out, how does a crime podcast become about music? Maybe I have some other tricks in my bag. I should do a music show one time. When the album came out, or before it came out, the Beach Boys let the Beatles listen to it. They were in a hotel room, and they listened to the whole album. And the Beatles, Paul McCartney said Pet Sounds was one of the greatest albums of all time. But they listened to the album before it came out, and the Beatles were blown away. They were like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. But yet when the album came out, and I could be wrong, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but it didn't do well. It didn't go over well with the fans right away, or with the public. But years later, and the Beatles and Paul McCartney said it was brilliant. It was a brilliant, brilliant album, you know. Angela Ng, hit the thumbs up for the live, TA. 205 in the chat, 145 with the thumbs up. You know, now that I think that the case, the Bryan Kohberger case, the Idaho quadruple murder case, is sort of cooling off right now for a period, because they asked for a recess until June 26th. I think that, you know, not as many people are paying attention to this, perhaps, to the Idaho quadruple murder case. It's still such a tragedy, you know. Ethan, I'm forgetting his last name right now, but Ethan's he's a triplet. It's Ethan Chapin. He's a triplet. Thank you, Maiden 86. And his two siblings, his two triplets, brother and sister, they go to University of Idaho. Could you imagine them going back to school this Wednesday after all of this? And they come from such a strong, strong family. The mother in that family, and the father, but the mother's been the spokesperson. You know, just such a positive person that we don't want to deal with just the negativity and the hatred involved in this. We want to go on with our life. I mean, just, I get the chills when I even talk about that. Just think about that, you know. I don't know if I have that in me to be forgiving in that way. And not even maybe forgiving, but we have to move on with life. You know, that whole philosophy, life is for the living. And if you keep grieving and keep suffering from this, then this person, this monster that did this, is taking over your life, not only in the way that he killed your son, killed your brother, killed your classmate, killed your friend, but Marsha Matthews, too soon to forgive. You know something, Marsha? I somewhat agree with you, but sometimes a person has to forgive in order to help themselves, or else it eats you up and can eat you up and spit you out, you know? Pauline Buckles, it's hard to even think about it. Native New Yorker chick, they want emotions to calm before going forward. That's what the delay is about, as I'm sure you already know. I think it's more about the defense wanting time to investigate this, case, to come up with things that they can question the prosecution on, so that they can create doubt, so that they can have a proper defense for this guy, you know. So it's not even considered that, you know, in the defense that he's sitting in jail or in prison as this is going on. Native New Yorker chick, bless the strength those families have shown. Absolutely. You know, we always try to say on our show that many people, both in the media and many people, content creators, many people, talking heads, they forget that these are 4 real people, 4 human beings, young human beings, 20, 21 years old, that had their lives stolen from them, murdered, violently, brutally murdered. None of them deserve this, you know. And sometimes, you know, we forget that. But the sensationalness of the case, of all these talking heads with these behavioral analysts, all of these, I spoke about on the show last night how the mainstream media always says, breaking news, and then they report something that's been known for a week. You know, it's like, it's so dishonest, but that's who they are, you know. You'll even see today, you'll see, oh, breaking news, new information. I don't think there's any new information coming out right now, you know. And every time you turn around, there's a new talking head coming out, you know. And people will criticize me and say, you're a talking head too, Bill. Yeah, when I go on these stations as a talking head, you're right, I'm a talking head too. But I like to think that we're a little bit different on our podcast. You know, content creator, all right, I'll go with that. Talking head, you want to throw it back at me? Go ahead, I don't care. But, you know, sometimes all these pseudo experts, many of them are not experts. Many of them are just, they have a title, and they, Kokomo, Indiana, breaking news only with a different spin. That's what the media does. Absolutely, absolutely. Breaking news that we all knew a week ago. Who's it breaking to, you know? Chef Lady, yes, Ethan's family has incredible strength. I think that incredible strength probably comes out of incredible faith also, you know. And I could be wrong, but I think that's probably where it comes from, you know. You just see, when you see any of the parents of these kids, their hearts are broken in two, man, just destroyed. They say a parent never recovers from the death of a child, and I think that's true. You wear that wound in different ways on different parts of your body, you know. It shows up in your face. It shows up in your eyes. It shows up in your speech, you know. It shows up in your day-to-day life. A parent, and any of you folks out there that have experienced it, and I haven't, thank God, but I've had to break the news to many parents that their child was murdered or dead, and it's not. It's one of the worst parts of being a cop, you know, is death notifications. Just horrific, you know. You know, you talk about any job that has to do that. The medical profession, nurses, doctors, that takes a toll on you, you know. It absolutely does. It can break your heart too, you know, that you have to tell someone that their loved one is dead, you know, horrible. Kim Alliston, Sergeant Mill, in my opinion, the Police Off the Cuff podcast and Duty Run are the most professional on YouTube. Kim, thank you so much. We appreciate that. We try to earn that title every day that we do a podcast, every day that we talk to you guys. I enjoy, you know, even these backyard talks with you guys. Maybe it's not as entertaining as the show that we stream, but I enjoy it. It's almost like me having a conversation with you guys, you know. 25 years on the PDA in this case has affected me beyond belief. Alan Levine. Sure has, Alan. You know, I said that about doing this podcast. Sometimes when I cover certain cases, it really does have an effect on me. The case that really bothered me a lot was the Eliza Fletcher case. Here's this mom jogging and some savage animal kidnaps her off the street and shoots her in the head in his car. I'm sure it was probably an attempted rape because the guy was a savage rapist, you know. Yeah, so that. Pamela Grant, Coffee with Cannon, my fave, Artistic Driver 42, poor Eliza. Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember that case. It was on the outskirts of Memphis University, Memphis, Tennessee. Mary Mons, hi Bill, thank you for teaching me so much. Love you guys. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate that. Folks, this is Police Off the Cuff, Real Crime Stories. This happens to be Coffee with Cannon, Backyard Beverage, Bitchin' with Bill. People have offered other names. I'll use all the names you guys want to call it. But if you're not subscribed to Police Off the Cuff, Real Crime Stories, go on our YouTube, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, ring that bell. Share us with your friends. Make comments. We love your comments, and we try to read all of them. I can't respond to all of them. I try to, but that in itself can sometimes be a full-time job too. But I enjoy reading them, and when I can respond, I really try to. And again, we thank all of you guys for your support and watching the show. Barbara George, hello from North Carolina. Hello, North Carolina. Both my sons went to Elon University in Burlington, North Carolina. So Lieutenant Pete, the best, Lieutenant Pete. Harlem Raiders, 3-2, Street Crime Forever, Lieutenant Peter Pranzo. Angela Eng, Rachella's got to be in, if there's Lieutenant Pete, Rachella can't be far behind. Shalane Thomason, hey Sergeant Bill, good to see you guys. Great to see you. Yeah, we spoke about Jane, at Lisa Marie Presley. We spoke about that before, that she passed away. Tragic, tragic life. Vesper Q, greeting Sergeant Bill and everyone, looking a little chilly there, right? It is a little bit, but I'm dressed. I'm actually wearing my winter coat, which I almost never do, but I put it on because I knew I'd be sitting out here and talking to you guys for a while. And I got me Irish hat. Got me cab driver hat. I have the worst Irish accent. I don't know what it sounds like. I think it's Irish or British. But either one it's terrible. Kim Alliston, I agree. I learned so much about homicide and investigation. Love the hat, Imachadoro. Betty Spaghetti. Betty Spaghetti. Love that screen name. I love the Irish hat. You know, I've had this hat for a long time, man. This hat goes back to when I was on the job. I used to wear this in homicide. You know, yeah. When people would see it come into the squad, they'd be like, "Oh no, what happened?" You know. So, legal-minded friends. Great to see you, Karen Cole. It's you know, I see all you guys. Sometimes when I don't see some of you guys in a while, I see you pop up in the chat. It's great. It's great to see you guys. You know, Angelo Bonello, where are you? I'm in New York. I'm not going to pinpoint where I am, but I'm in New York. I'm in Westchester County right now. I plan on returning to Florida, hopefully on Tuesday, and I don't think the weather's been great in Florida either. I looked it up, and I think it was like in the 50s, and I'm like, ugh, I want to go back, but I don't have a car right now because I left my car in Florida. I didn't feel like driving 19 hours back here, so I left my car in Florida. So I got to go back, so I have a car, you know, and Laugh out loud. They call them granddad caps in England. I don't want to encourage that because someone on in our chat the other day called me Pops. I was like, Pops. I go, that's Sergeant Pops to you. Pops. I don't want to be known as Pops, you know? I saved my son's hats like that from a picture we took. My one son, my oldest son, has the Irish face, you know. My youngest son doesn't. He's very, very handsome, very good looking, but like I'll say, my oldest son looks more like a can, and my youngest son, I think, although some people say, no, the youngest son doesn't, but you know, we are proud of our Irish heritage, you know, and Amy in Boston, I'm Irish, but look Italian. Hey, that's look, Irish and Italians make the best babies. Isn't that the truth? Irish and Italians go get married quite frequently, and they have beautiful kids, you know, so it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Amy in Boston, yes, she agrees with me, Amy in Boston. There was some broadcaster on I just saw it, I don't know if it was on Instagram, and she was talking, and she sounded perfect, and then she said some word, and you heard her Boston accent, and she was like, oh, she got like embarrassed at the, I can't get rid of this New York accent. I don't even try. You know how many, when I was doing acting, when I was auditioning, how many jobs I was just disqualified for immediately because of my New York accent? I always wonder then, you know, doesn't Al Pacino and doesn't Robert De Niro, don't they have New York accents? So how are they always excused for their New York accents? How did Sean Connery work for all those years as an actor with he's from Wales, his Welsh accent, so thick, right? How do some of these and I know that some movies they work with a dialect coach, and they try to get the accent from the area that they're performing, you know, like from where the actor is from. But, you know, if you try to, these days, in acting or commercials, they don't want a New York accent. Sean Connery, that I'm being told, was from Scotland. I thought it was Wales for some reason. You could be right. Aunt BB2, I love Al Pacino, doesn't matter what he sounds like. You know, Aunt BB2, I used to always think, up until a few years ago, that the greatest living actor was Robert De Niro. And then I watched a lot of Al Pacino stuff, you know, Scarface, Scent of a Woman, well, of course, The Godfather, stuff going back, Serpico, Donnie Brasco. He's a total chameleon. And I think that he is the greatest living actor, Al Pacino. I think he's better than De Niro. And don't get me wrong, I think De Niro's excellent also, but I think Pacino has more depth and more scope and can do more different things, you know. Dog Day Afternoon, yeah. Pack the car in the garage, drag a pro. From Sis Heather, whatever, Al Pacino, so great, and Justice for All. Yeah, that too. I mean, look, you can pull up a million roles that he's played. 272 in the chat, 203 with the thumbs up. We got to hit 300 today. I don't know if I was still covering heavily the Idaho quadruple. I think, you know, I was getting 600 in the chat, but I think everyone recognizes that the case has wound down, at least for now. It's going to heat up again, of course, as new things start to come out, as there's bound to be leaks from the press accidentally on purpose. New York and Boston, not only accent, but attitude. Amy in Boston, yeah, that's right. People immediately know where you're from. Marina Vacos, hello, love Pacino. Yeah, I mean, great actor, great actor. You know, there's so many great actors. You know, some of the newer actors are great too, you know, and character actors, and, you know, acting's tough. I took classes for, I guess, about 3 or 4 years. And I stopped taking classes around the COVID thing because classes moved from in person to online, and I was like, I can't take acting classes in a Zoom. I just don't think it's. I don't know. Is anyone taking acting classes in Zoom? It's not the same thing to me. And I was getting better. I really was. I was getting, I actually had played a few roles or did a few roles. I did a scene from Ordinary People in class, and I actually had tears streaming down my face. So you got to really feel it. You got to feel it. That real tears streaming down your face. That's not fake. You can't just invent that. Jerry N, cold and cloudy with Cannon. I don't know if I want to name that. Coffee with Cannon. I don't know. Cold and cloudy with Cannon. Who's going to show up then? If it's cold and cloudy with Cannon. But hey, if you want to call it that, you can call it anything. The Eagle-Minded Friends. Wow, you must have a good memory. Well, no, I mean, look, you do scenes and you do scenes with other actors. And there were some people in my class that were working, that had been doing it for a long time. And I think I still I have talent, but it's like everything else. It's what you put into it. If you want to work at that, if you want to be a working actor, you got to work your ass off. And you got to, and one of the hardest things is memorization. Memorizing lines. Oh, God, is that tough, Betty Spaghetti, you're very good at public speaking, this type of streaming, especially during a monologue. Yeah. Well, monologues, that's really tough too. Look, if things were easy, there's that old expression, if it was easy, everyone would do it, right? And everyone's not doing it. And and I also, I don't know if all you guys know this, I tried stand-up comedy for like 7 years. And I really worked hard. I worked hard at it, but I was trying to get up at a mic at least 3 to 4 times a week, which I did. I hosted a mic in my town. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking when I say a mic, comics go up at what's called open mics. And that's where you rehearse. That's where you get practice. And the more you get on stage, the better you get, because when you write material, you have to try it out. And the toughest audience you could try out any comedic material in front of is other comics. If you make other comics laugh, you're a superstar, because other comics almost try not to laugh when you're doing an open mic. But open mics also can be brutal, because you could go there and it could be 15, 16, 20 people there, and you got a poker 26 off the cuff #1. Thank you. And you got to listen to everyone before you get up there. And it's sort of rude if you don't, like say you get up and you just leave, although sometimes you have to, because if you want to go and do another one, hi Sergeant Bill, lunch break, wanted to drop in for a few, Joe 67, Poker 26. I've had a hard time shaking thoughts. Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't get to read that fast enough. I wanted to read your text. Sometimes these texts come by and they come in, and if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, there's text on the screen. Work for Lutterworth. Hi from the UK. Hello, UK. Hello, a present for canonism class, Schmitty. I like that. There's some canonisms I put out there, It's time then for Music with Bill, Martha Miner, Legal-Minded Friends, Karen Cole, Cold Blood, Heather whatever, Imachadoro. You have to have a bag full of comebacks for hecklers. Yeah, it's, look, comedy, stand-up comedy is great training for acting. Because you can talk to a lot of actors and they're like, oh my God, I would never try. Made in '86, I'm not teaching anymore. I'm really starting to get like the itch to do it again. Like I taught for 10 and a half years. I taught at a college, and I taught when I was on the police department. I taught at the criminal investigation course, which I really enjoyed because I was teaching to an audience of my peers. And I loved it when I would have captains and higher ranking people from other departments coming in, and they respected me. And, and I taught from my knowledge and from my street experience. And no one could question my street experience. I have the street cred, you know. 6.5 years in anti-crime. You know, ask Lieutenant Pete what that's all about, you know. You learn the trade. And there's a lot of Shalene Thomason, did I ever read anything from the picketing massacre in Ohio? I have not. Marina Vaikos, Martha Mine, I agree, music with Sergeant Bill. I'd have to have a separate music show, you know. I can't, what do they say? Don't bite the hand that feeds you. Just the true crime, the real crime is what's put us on the map, you know. So my goal for 2023 is to get better at this show, to get more subscribers, and to get more and interesting guests. That's a challenge because, you know, like I'm sort of like a one-man operation. I don't have anyone helping me with this show. I do everything, call people, book guests, you know, I schedule the shows, I do the research, I do everything. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot. Look, I'm not complaining. It's a labor of love. I love to do it, but it is a lot of work, you know. Sometimes my family thinks I'm obsessed, you know. Could you ask Ed to do another bit on Amino Black, you mean? I'll ask Duty Ron. Ed Wallace was a great find for Duty Ron. Ed Wallace, I mean, who of all the talking heads on this earth is going to argue with Ed Wallace, you know? You get these talking heads on some of these TV stations, and they couldn't shine Ed Wallace's shoes, you know? But he's asked to go on as a talking head all the time, and he turns it down. He's too busy. He's too busy being Ed Wallace and teaching and going to classes and doing all that. Snowing in Kentucky, oh my God. Barbara George, Ed Wallace is a gem. Maybe I'll steal him from Duty Ron one night. Ed, can I borrow Ed for the night? I think Duty Ron would be like, no way, you ain't borrowing him, no way. Folks, this police off the cuff real crime stories, coffee with Cannon, backyard beverage, bitchin' with Bill, whatever you want to call it. But thank you guys so much for showing up today. We're together having a conversation, and the Idaho quadruple murders. You know, we're gonna stay with that, of course, all the way through this thing. It's almost like a personal thing, you know. And I believe that the Moscow police and the FBI and the Idaho State Police, I believe they have a lot more evidence than they have even come close to releasing. And that's one of the things that I'm going to look forward to, is when we start hearing about other pieces of evidence that they have that'll slam the prison door shut on this guy. And I know he's innocent to proven guilty, and I'm supposed to say that every day, several times, he's innocent to proven guilty. But I'm part of the prosecution on this case, and I want to know and believe that they have the evidence to put this guy away for the rest of his life, and maybe death penalty. You know, he's a candidate for the death penalty. Lorraine Lawrence, your show is great right now. You and Ed are so interesting and smart. Thank you so much. Thomas Jordan, please make sure to leave the thumbs up. Thank you, Thomas. Kokomo, off the Florida Keys, there's a place called Kokomo where you can go to get away from it all. Way down in Kokomo, way down in Kokomo. I obviously don't have the words correctly, but Kokomo, Indiana reminds me of Kokomo must be a place in the Caribbean, I would guess, right? Bermuda, Bahama, come on, pretty mama, right? BK would have passed a psych eval if he would have tried to join the police. Maybe, you know. Those psych evaluations, I don't know if they screen out the real psychos, you know, because a lot of these real psychos are smart and they know how to defeat those tests. You know, those psych tests, they give you 1,000 questions, but they're really 100 questions asked 10 times each. And after a while, the redundancy of them, you're just like, oh, right, I answered this already. Oh, they're trying to trick me. They asked it a different way. For example, I sometimes get headaches. I never get headaches. You know, when you're supposed to answer never, or once in a while, you know. I had a headache the other day. Ah, I missed work because I had a headache. I never, ever, ever get headache. So you got to be consistent. If you never, ever get headaches, then you got to answer that question the same way every single time, or else they're going to know you're lying, or or you're getting confused over the question. But that's what those psych evaluations are about. Kokomo was a made-up name, Ronald Hall. Okay, I have no reason to doubt you. Then where did he get that from? Kokomo, I guess Kokomo, Indiana, and he thought it was in the Caribbean. I don't know. Bull Run. Apparently there is no real Kokomo. I just looked it up. Oh my God, I'm so heartbroken that there's no Kokomo in the Caribbean. Old pirates, yes they rob I. Send I to the merchant ship. Minutes after they took I from the bottomless pit. Yes, my hand was made strong by the hand of the Almighty. We forward in this generation triumphantly. Oh, won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? Is all I ever had. Redemption song, redemption song. I love that tune. That's a great tune, isn't it? Redemption tune. Bob Marley. The best, right? Schmitty, his son just died. That's right. Bob Marley's son died. He's got some talented kids too. Ziggy Marley. Stars above, you go build Jamaica strong. I had a lot of students from Jamaica when I taught. A lot of students from the Caribbean, students from all over the world I taught. But yeah, Jamaica. There's a lot of the kids from the Caribbean. They had this. I don't know. They had a strict upbringing in the Caribbean, especially Jamaica, and almost like you would think like how Catholic schools are tough. That's the way the Jamaican schools were, and so the kids had this, built-in sort of discipline, Chillin' was timed out by Angela Ng. What happened, Angie? Angie, how's Joe doing? Angie Ng's here. Joe Murray, who's our in-residence attorney. Joe's been so busy, he hasn't been able to come on. I've invited him on numerous times, but he's so busy with his law practice, he hasn't been able to be a guest. But we miss Joe. We love Joe, and that's why I'm just asking Angie Ng, how's Joe doing? Amazing how time goes so quickly, right? It's already Friday the 13th, January 13th, 2023. Remember Thanksgiving last year? Remember Christmas? Remember New Year's? All of a sudden it's January 13th, 2023. Unbelievable. So guys, I'm at 48 minutes, 32 seconds. We talked about a lot of different things today, huh? I think we had some fun, didn't we? Heather, whatever, way fast. Betty Spaghetti, it goes way too fast. Yes, someone is messing with the dial of time. The Jetsons. Yeah, it goes really fast. When I first started doing this, I was like, how am I going to talk to people for 20 minutes? How am I going to talk to people for a half hour? All of a sudden, I'm at 50 minutes, 50 minutes goes by, and you're like, whoa. Holy, I have no notes. Well, actually, I do have some notes just to refer, but I really haven't been referring to the notes. Amazing. But I want to thank everyone for coming by today. What would I do? I'd talk to myself if you guys didn't show up, right? I'd talk to myself in the chat here. But Kim Allison, God bless Sergeant Bill. We love you. Thank you, guys. I love you back. Right? Heather, whatever. Good start to your day. I'm glad, Heather. It's Lovebug53. We enjoy you, Bill. Thank you so much, guys. Alan Levine, great show, Sarge. Thank you, Alan. Great to see all you different names in the chat. Barbara George, have a great weekend. Having a nice weekend, Sarge. Seattle Ryan, Linda Caputo. Great to see all you guys. Guys, Have a great day. God bless, and I'll see you soon.